The empire has crumbled and the music has officially stopped for Sean Diddy Combs. The man who once sat on a throne of gold is now sitting on a metal bench in a federal cage. The world thought the story was over when the guilty verdict came down last summer, but the receipts show that Diddy is launching one last desperate attack on the legal system. His lawyers are filing a massive First Amendment appeal that is making everyone in the courtroom sick. They are trying to tell a federal judge that his crimes were actually protected speech. The truth is finally out about how Diddy plans to escape his 50-month sentence. His legal team is arguing that the sex crimes he was convicted of are actually just art. They are calling the horrific freak-offs a form of amateur pornography. This is a direct insult to every victim who stood on the witness stand and cried. Diddy is trying to hide behind the Constitution to justify the patterns of abuse that destroyed lives. He is currently in total downfall mode as his legal team realizes the walls are closing in for good. The first half of this nightmare is all about the specific appeal that just hit the desk of the federal court. The lawyers for the hip-hop mogul are claiming that the government had no right to use the freak-off videos as evidence. They are arguing that because these sessions were recorded and staged, they should be protected like a movie. The receipts prove that this is a lie. These were not movie sets with actors and unions. These were drug-fueled marathons where people were forced to perform for days at a time. The truth is that Diddy used these recordings as a way to keep people under his thumb. The legal defeat Diddy suffered was massive, and the brand backlash was even worse. When the federal agents raided his homes in Los Angeles and Miami, the game was over. They found over 1,000 bottles of lubricant and high-grade narcotics. They found the hard drives that contained the very videos Diddy is now trying to call art. The contract between Diddy and his brand partners began to shred instantly. Diageo walked away from the billion-dollar deal for De Leon tequila. Ciroc Vodka stripped his name from the label. The receipts show that Diddy lost over $500 million in net worth in less than 6 months. But the money was just the beginning of the collapse. The real evidence came from the victims who finally found their voice. The hero of this story is Cassie Ventura. She was the one who broke the seal of silence that Diddy had bought for years. Her lawsuit revealed the dark truth about what happened behind the closed doors of the bad boy empire. She described how Diddy would force her to participate in the freak-offs while he watched from the bed. She told the world how he would punch her and kick her and then pay her to stay quiet. The truth is finally out, and there is no going back for the man who thought he was a god. The receipts show that Diddy spent a fortune on these sessions. The logistics were handled like a military operation. He would spend $20,000 on a single hotel suite for the weekend. He would spend another $10,000 on private flights to bring in sex workers from across the country. The records prove that he would have a doctor on call to provide IV fluids to the participants because they were so exhausted and dehydrated. This was not a film production. This was a systematic operation of exploitation and control. But what happened next was even more shocking for the defense team. A second witness, known as Jane Doe, stepped forward during the trial. She provided the hard evidence that showed Diddy was using physical intimidation to get what he wanted. She described a scene in a New York hotel where Diddy became enraged because she did not want to participate in a freak-off. The receipts show that he blocked the door and told her she was never leaving until he got what he wanted. He used his massive frame and his security team to trap her in a nightmare that lasted for 12 hours. The truth is that Diddy is the architect of his own destruction. He recorded everything because he thought he was untouchable. He thought his wealth would protect him from the consequences of his actions. But the federal government does not care about your bank account when the crimes are this severe. The jury saw the videos and they heard the cries for help. They saw the receipts for the drugs and the travel, and they knew the truth. Diddy was convicted on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution, and he was sent directly to prison. The meltdown continued as Diddy arrived at the federal facility in New Jersey. He is no longer wearing designer suits or drinking expensive champagne. He is wearing a khaki uniform and eating mystery meat on a plastic tray. The reality of prison life has hit him like a freight train. He has tried to get special treatment, but the guards are treating him like any other inmate. He is currently held at Fort Dix, where he has to follow a strict schedule. He wakes up at 6 in the morning and he has to clean his own cell. The man who had a staff of 50 people now has to wash his own laundry. The receipts show that Diddy is trying to shorten his time by any means necessary. He has enrolled in a drug treatment program called RDAP. This is a 500-hour program for inmates with substance abuse issues. If he finishes the program, he could get up to 1 year off his sentence. But the truth is that his reputation can never be repaired. Even if he gets out in 2027 instead of 2028, he is a social pariah. Every brand he built is dead. Every artist he mentored has walked away. He is alone in a cell with nothing but the memories of the people he hurt. The war in the courtroom is getting even more aggressive. The government is filing their response to the First Amendment appeal right now. They are telling the judge that Diddy is making a mockery of the law. They are pointing out that if sex crimes are protected as art, then the police could never stop a crime as long as someone was holding a phone. The receipts prove that the law is on the side of the victims. The First Amendment protects your right to speak, but it does not protect your right to S people and call it a hobby. The receipts were about to go public even more as more lawsuits hit the pile. Since the conviction, over 30 new people have come forward with similar stories. They all describe the same pattern of behavior. They talk about the drinks that tasted funny and the blackouts that followed. They talk about waking up in a hotel room with people they didn't know while Diddy laughed in the corner. The truth is that the federal conviction was just the tip of the iceberg. The legal battle will continue for years, even while Diddy is behind bars. The scene-by-scene breakdown of the 2016 hotel footage was the moment the world turned on him. The video shows Diddy running down a hallway at the Intercontinental Hotel in a towel. He catches Cassie at the elevator and throws her to the ground with total force. He kicks her while she is down and then grabs her by the hair. He drags her back down the hallway like a piece of luggage. This video proved that Diddy was a liar. He had spent years telling the world he was a gentleman and a lover of women, but the receipts showed he was a monster. The truth is that Diddy tried to buy that video for $50,000. He wanted to bury the evidence forever, but the hotel security had already backed it up. The receipts prove that Diddy knew he was guilty from the very beginning. He didn't apologize because he was sorry. He apologized because he got caught. His lawyers are now trying to say that even that video was part of his creative process. They are trying to argue that the violence was staged for a music video that never came out. Nobody is buying the lies anymore. The receipts also show the financial fallout was even bigger than anyone realized. Diddy had to sell his private jet just to cover the legal fees. He had to put his Los Angeles mansion on the market for $70 million, but nobody wants to buy it. The house is considered a crime scene by the public. People are afraid that the walls are bugged or that there are hidden cameras in the bedrooms. The truth is that Diddy's entire life was a set for his own sick fantasies. The villain of this story is currently in a state of total career meltdown. He has been stripped of his honorary degrees. His keys to the city have been returned. He is no longer the king of New York. He is just inmate number 37452. He spends his days in the library trying to find a way out, but the evidence is a mountain he can never climb. The witness statements from the trial are being used by other victims to file their own cases. The receipts show that Diddy will be in court for the rest of his life. The conclusion of this story is a final nail in the coffin of the bad boy era. Diddy thought he was the smartest man in the room. He thought he could outrun the law and outbuy the truth. but the receipts show that the law always catches up. His appeal is a desperate move by a man who has nothing left to lose. He is trying to redefine the Constitution to fit his crimes, but the judges are not falling for it. The truth is finally out, and the hero of the story is the justice system that finally stood up to a bully. The cost of his lies has been everything. Diddy is a reminder that power is not a shield. He spent decades building a wall of money and influence, but it only took one brave woman to knock it down. The receipts show that the freak-offs were not art. They were a crime scene. The amateur pornography defense is failing because the world can see the pain in the eyes of the victims. Diddy is the architect of his own destruction, and he will have plenty of time to think about that in his cell. The final line of this chapter is clear. You cannot build an empire on the broken lives of others and expect it to stand. Sean Diddy Combs is going to prison because the facts are objective and the evidence is confirmed. The receipts prove the abuse. The contract shows the control.